guys, how are we doing? It's Jazz Vinder. Jazz for short. This is the Mindset Hacker podcast. And today we have 3 steps to diffuse panic and anxiety. So I'm just going to jump right into it. You know exactly if you need this or you don't. So if you do need it, then we've got some things you can do. Because everyone has this every now and then, and we need tools. This is Deva Premal with Mula Mantra, Part 1. Okay, what do you do about anxiety and panic? You feel like you're spinning out. You feel like you're out of control. You don't know what to do. Your heart's racing. Your mind is a tornado of broken glass. And every thought is a source of pain. And you feel helpless. And it's sort of like an autoimmune disorder in the sense that your own mind is attacking itself. What do you do? 3 things you can do. First thing you can do is externalize the emotions. Now, when I say externalize them, I don't mean go and take them out on other people. I don't necessarily mean go and vent. I don't mean go punch a pillow. There's different theories about this. Here's one theory that I stand by for sure, is you get those thoughts on the other side of your head as quickly as possible. So how do you do that? How do you externalize it? You see, the mind has a tremendous power over us in a negative sense when our thoughts are just left in this murky, nebulous, cloudy, well, that's a synonym, actually. Nebula means cloud, right? And vague means a wave, watery, murky. You don't want this pea soup of just mental brain thoughts because you can't find your way. So the first thing you should do is start writing down everything that's coming into your head. Write the thoughts down. You're not manifesting them. You're not giving them weight. You're relieving your head of those thoughts. Get a piece of paper and just start writing. Just start free writing. Just keep moving the pen or pencil until the page is full. And go to the next page if you need to. Start to get it out. Or just say what you're thinking. Obviously, this is easier and you'll feel a lot less self-conscious if you're by yourself. Just start, honestly, talk to yourself. It sounds like we have a stigma around this, like it's a sign of being crazy. It's a sign of externalizing your thought process. Actually, many brilliant scientists, psychologists, novelists, composers, people of sound mind have talked to themselves to work through their ideas. So write it down or speak it out loud, but just start to get it out. And be honest about what you're thinking and feeling. Externalizing it will force you to do so. If you go, I'm okay. Well, that doesn't feel honest at all, does it? It's okay to say I'm freaking out. It's okay to say I'm spinning out. It's okay to say I'm panicking. It's okay to say, God, I just fucked up so bad. Or, fuck, everything is ruined. I got into a horrific car accident back in 2005. And I'll spare you the details because it's quite ghastly. And the first thing I said to myself out loud is, oh my God, my life is over. Now, of course, that's not true. And I didn't manifest that my life was over either, but it got out of my head. It was too much to hold in. We only abuse ourselves when we hold in the thoughts. I really want you to hear me on this. You only abuse yourself when you hold in the thoughts that are painful. Get out a pen and paper, write it down, and speak it out loud. That's number 1. Number 1 is externalize the thoughts. Okay. Number 2 is a form of facilitated introspection. Number 2 is to make yourself into the third person. Imagine somebody who is going through the exact same situation that you're in. Imagine that they are responding to it identically to how you're responding to it. And imagine that they are coming to you in that state. What would you say to them? Now, don't just be lazy. Now, see, there's a reason why this is step 2, because if you really are in the throes of panic and anxiety, this is going to be too much. And I learned this just the other day when I tried to do step 1. when I tried to do step 2 as step 1, right? I just went straight to asking the person to respond to an imaginary person who was identical to them in every way. And it didn't quite work. It ended up working later because I had to circle back to it. It did work, but it works as a step 2. This was my revelation. So again, your best friend, a parent if you're close with your parents, your child if you have children, someone that you're close to, someone that you love and care for deeply. They come to you, they're distraught, they're spinning out, they're not talking sense. What would you say to them? And really flesh it out. If you want, write it down or say it out loud. Again, get into a private, quiet space and say it out loud. Say it into the mirror if you're by yourself. You won't believe how effective that is, because you are literally consoling yourself, but you find it in yourself to console yourself by tapping into the part of you that is not going through that. The entirety of your being is not there. The entirety of your being is not going through this. There's one corner of your mind that has become so agitated and irritated and inflamed, if you will, that it seems so all-consuming. It is crying out for attention. Crying out to whom exactly? The rest of yourself. So you tap into the part of you that is well, that is whole, that is unscathed, but not unmoved, right? The part of you that has love to give, that has an ear to listen, that has a heart full of compassion. And what do? You speak to yourself from that place. Number 1, you've just reasoned your way through the problem to a large degree. Number 2, you've also affirmed to yourself that there is a part of you that understands what's going on. That you are not the suffering person. You are not the anxious person. You are not the panicking person. You are what? You are consciousness itself, localized inside of a human body and receiving input from the 5 senses at all times. That is not your reality. Those are clouds that are drifting across the surface of your sky, and these are storm clouds. These are thunderous, lightning bolt producing clouds. And you're the sky that they're moving across. It's not your identity. And so whenever you're able to speak to those tumultuous parts of yourself with convincing and genuine reason and compassion, empathy, care, nurturing, patience, zoom out to the bigger picture, you realize that you are more than this hurting person. That's step 2. Okay? What's step number 3? Step number 3 is to do deep breathing. You could meditate if you are versed in meditation. There's an instructional video on my YouTube page where you probably are right now, where I walk you through how to meditate. You could go there right now if you're feeling anxious. If you're in the middle of that panic attack and you've done these first 2 things, I would go to that video, unless you already have a practice. Of course, if you have a practice, I'm not here to interfere with your practice or step on the toes of your teacher, but if you need techniques, I have provided them for that reason, right? So, deep breathing, the key thing about breath and what it will do if you tap into it and harness it and let it nurture you is that when you regulate, there we go, now we're speaking English, when you regulate your breathing, when you make the length of the inhale to exhale equal to one another, and you make the breathing itself steady, not choppy, just smooth and continuous and equal in length across the inhale and the exhale. What this does is this regulates and this normalizes, evens out the electromagnetic impulses of your heart. We talk about the brain as making electromagnetic impulses. It turns out that the heart emits many, many times over the wattage of your brain. If you want to make an impact in your energy, quite literally your energy, right? We're talking about your wattage, your voltage, right? High voltage. Well, focus on your heart. Place your feeling awareness into the center of your chest. Even out the length of the inhale to exhale. Make the breathing smooth and continuous. Don't go for long or deep, but just go for even on both sides and not choppy. And it will deepen and it will lengthen, but not if you necessarily aim for those things right off the bat. What will accomplish it, guaranteed, and I mean this, guaranteed, is if you focus on equalizing inhale to exhale and smoothing out the inhale and the exhale, both. It regularizes the magnetic impulses of your heart, which helps to subdue the fight or flight response, which you are very caught up in at that moment. The fight or flight response is when your body believes that you are about to be killed by a predator. So what does it do? It just budgets everything towards survival. It actually ends up cutting off your growth hormones. It ends up cutting off your immune system. Your immune system just flips off like a light switch after you haven't paid your electricity if you're stressed out. The other thing that stress does is it floods your bloodstream with acid and toxins, or it turns it acidic, rather, by flooding it with toxins. The idea is your body is literally trying to make you taste bad if you are in the jaws of a tiger, as sort of a last-ditch effort, right? So you're subduing that and you're diffusing it and you're deactivating it when you normalize the electromagnetic impulses of your heart by evening the flow of the inhale to exhale and steadying the breath. And then you're promoting a predominance of the parasympathetic nervous system, which is to say that you are making a hedge against the hair trigger of your fight or flight response. What you're doing is you are creating a resistance towards the stress mechanism by cementing the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the relaxed state, more equanimous state, and you are telling your mind that this is where you go when you're stressed. You go to equanimity, eventide, right? So you do that after you have gotten the stuff out of your head, spat it out, shout it if you need to. Don't be inhibited at all. Don't be ashamed of your emotions. And just get them out, get them on paper, say them out loud. Imagine yourself as the onlooker or the person that your panicking self is seeking advice from, and speak to them calmly and lovingly. And then you'll be ready to sit down and breathe deeply, breathe slowly and steadily and evenly. Give yourself as much time as you need. Bring your conscious awareness to the center of your chest. Close your eyes, right? And just visualize yourself as the personification of stillness, equanimity, serenity, compassion, calm. And you would do very well. You'll be able to get yourself out of this. You may not flip that switch and go straight to ecstasy or to be feeling like a vessel of peace and love and compassion and patience. But it's hard to imagine you wouldn't be doing better than you were a moment ago. And that's the whole point, is you just keep taking one step in a direction that feels a little bit better than you were before. Don't have unrealistic expectations that will only frustrate you. Don't expect the joy to come on in full. It might. But if you're expecting that, you're only going to put more pressure on yourself. You're only going to panic more when you see yourself not responding in that way. So just buy yourself some breathing room, quite literally, and see what that does for you. Well, guys, thank you for your time. My name is Jasvinder. And actually, let's review before we go. Actually, we did review. Well, get it out, externalize it, speak to yourself as a third party, and then breathe deeply. Rinse and repeat as necessary. Do any one of these things at any moment you feel these emotions coming on. Guys, thank you for your time. Share the broadcast if you found it beneficial. I love and appreciate you guys, and we'll talk soon. Shri Bhagavati Samhita